Hey guys, this is Cam for 15, joined by my co-host, my Uncle Daryl, and we're back with episode 2 of Moon Knight, which I thought was a pretty good episode, but I'm guessing I'm probably around the world of the internet because the internet always complains about other crap, because when is it not?
Mm-hmm.
They were talking about the Mr. Knight persona being a lot different compared to the comic version, but this is the MCU. When has many times they've changed things that are not like identical to the comics. Miss Marvel, she don't even have the stretching ability powers. It's like some mix of cosmic stretching abilities. I don't know what that is, but I'm guessing they're trying to make that difference because they're going to introduce the Fantastic Four soon.
Yeah.
But I personally, we'll get to it when we get to that part in the episode review. But I honestly like the change. It made something different. But anyways, last week was a great episode. This week I thought was great too. And obviously, last week ended with him obviously defeating the Jackal, where you get that nice scene. We start the episode off. He wakes up and he actually has recollection of what he did. He just
Mm-hmm.
doesn't recall, like, okay, what happened? How did I get in my bed? And everything. And he's just kind of like freaking out. So he's like, okay, I need to do something. He goes to his freaking job and he gets in contact with the security guard who's kind of watching the camera. He's like, hey, now we find out because there's like maintenance going on, and they're like, and he's talking to the security guard. He's like, dude, somebody like really messed up the bathroom and everything. And he's like, oh, really? You weren't gonna go check the security cameras or something like that? He was like, yeah, I was about to do that right now. Um, and they're going to go check the security camera. Now he's trying to see if he can show him the fact that he's in the Moon Knight costume and everything and stuff like that. But apparently museums can't have cameras in the restroom, so they can't see the camera angle. But
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
what happens is he sees him and the security guard. They see the events of what happens when the Jackal's first chasing him, and the security guard's like, "Wait, is that you crying?" And he's like, "Yes, that's me crying." And he starts, and they cut to him just like dealing with all the things that he was dealing with at the end of the first episode. And then obviously they don't show the bathroom camera because there's no cameras in the bathroom. And although you think, okay, he would probably walked out of the bathroom with the Moon Knight costume on, and you could probably see him, but no. Um, Apparently, Mark Spector, what some people are thinking, this could be the third persona kicking in. Um, just walks out, and we just see him, and it makes it look like, oh, he's the guy responsible for everything that's happened, and he's like, dude, that's you, and he's like, oh, yeah. So they end up sending him to this one dude who like is running the museum and everything, and it's just kind of a way of saying, yeah, what we saw from the evidence, you look like you're not good in the hand. If you need some help, we got you. We can help
Gotcha.
you out here.
Yep.
Um, they give him this little pamphlet, and he's like, "Oh, in the meantime, too, you're fired, essentially." So the other persona
Yes.
lost this guy his job.
Yes, please do not come back. We noticed that you're on the camera and there was nothing else but you. How do you account for that? So what I thought that was pretty cool about the scene is this is when I'm starting to we're starting to see that the only person that can see all of these things is Steven, you know. So in the beginning of the movie, he's going up to the security guard, and I'm like, please, whatever you do, know that he's the wrong one to go to. Don't go to him. You're gonna look like a complete and utter idiot. And obviously, that's exactly what happened. So, so yeah, he wound up turning in his name tag, which is really the only thing that he had that belonged to the museum. And that's the part that really cracked me up. It was like, do you have anything that belongs to us? And yeah, the name tag. So yeah,
Mhm.
you take the name tag, you know. So so yeah, this is when we're really starting to gather what how deep Stephen is with his particular persona as it relates to Moon Knight.
Yeah.
So he goes back to his apartment. Um, but was it the cops that came at that particular point when he goes back to his apartment?
No, I think he actually goes to the one like what is it that
Oh, you're right.
his storage
He
area.
goes to the storage room first. He
Also,
goes
and also to sorry for interrupting, but
oh, yeah.
when the dude who was saying, "You got anything else you would like to give?" Not only just the name tag, he was also referencing the scarab beetle, because we later find out that this whole museum was kind of in on what this Aro dude, the guy who's under crap, I forgot, I had the other god's name, the chick that the dude's trying to bring back.
Yeah.
We find out, oh, that whole operation is like within the museum too. So that's why last week dude was able to get into the museum, have a whole room to himself, and try to stop Steven in the first episode. He was trying to see, oh, you got anything else you got there? Because he was obviously sent with orders, more than likely, get the scarab beetle because this guy has it.
That's right.
But he gets to the storage area, and he goes into a storage area. We see all like different weapons and stuff like that, because Mark Spector, he like a military guy, and everything. He was like an assassin or a mercenary.
Yeah, he was an ex-Marine. That's correct.
So he opens up this bag. He just has all this bunch of cash and everything that Mark Spector had. Pulls out the passport, and it says it's an American passport with the name Mark Spector, and he's like,
Mark Spector on it.
And then all of a sudden he hears voices, and it's Khonshu trying to talk to him and everything. So he walks out of the storage area, and then he just sees freaking Khonshu, bird face and all, just like.
Well, before that, you know, he did talk to Mark. Mark was in one of the reflections. He did talk to Mark and basically told him that, you know, hey, I can get you out of this. You just have to give me control. Give me control and I can get you out of this. Well, how can I get out? How can I get out of this? Well, I'll tell you what, why don't you go right on over there? You go to sleep, you rest up, and then I'll take over from there. Well, you know, Steven has trouble sleeping. So, you know, the thought of sleep just enrages Steven to the point whereas, you know, me, dude, I can't do that. I really can't do that. And you know what, now that I think about it, I'm going to take this bag and all its contents and I'm getting the hell out of here. You know, because you guys are creeping me the hell out. So he goes out, he's in the hallway, he sees Khonshu, and the funniest part of the entire episode, when he lets out that scream and they freeze, and you see the total shock on his face when he sees Khonshu. Well, he didn't really see Khonshu for the first time. That was the first time he really saw Khonshu up close and personal. So he screamed, and then he wound up running out again. And this is when he runs out and he sees the beautiful Layla on her motor scooter. I wouldn't even call it a moped, but it was like a motor scooter. So, you know, she gets him. She's still calling him Mark because that's who she knows him by. So he gets on the scooter and, you know, they're talking, she's screaming, she's wanting to know what's going on with him, where have you been, things of that nature. And then he says, well, just take me home. Take me home. So they get back to his apartment. She sees everything and she just utterly cannot believe any of it. Yeah. She's just like, man, what the heck is going on here, dude? Mark, why are you going through all of this nonsense? And he's still trying to convince her he is not Mark. You know, so again, it's still that dichotomy of the two personalities fighting at each other. Mark's life is coming over into Steven's, and Steven is just fighting at every step of the way. Even Layla, who it turns out that Mark and Layla are married.
Are married, and they were like, just planning on getting divorced.
Right. But you know, Layla seems to be in this for the long haul. You know, dude, you my husband, man. We're gonna fight this. We can take care of this. We can handle this. Well, you know, then knock on the door. It's two police officers, and lo and behold, guess who they belong to?
Arthur Harrow. I gotta just look up the cast name.
They belong to Harrow because you see the scales on their arms, and the one that freaked me out was the kid that they had Steven in the police car. They had him parked. And they brought him to, you know, this neighborhood. So the kid that had the soccer ball, and you see that scale on her arms, and at that moment, that's when I'm like, what the hell? So so now Harold comes and gets him out of the car. Well, I mean, Stephen fell. He opened up the door because he's hitting his head up against the window. So and he falls clumsily, as Stephen does. And here he comes, Mr. Harold. So and this is, this is one creepy dude.
Oh yeah.
I will give you that. He is one creepy dude. He's a really good villain. So we'll see how he plays a final part in this whole mix up that's going on with the, Khonshu villain, Stephen, Mark, Layla. We'll see where this all goes. This cult that he has with the team, the scales and things of that nature. So it's going to be interesting to see how they go. You
Yeah.
And take it up from there.
Yeah. Now the reason why they picked him up is because obviously they're looking for the Scarab, but
they're looking for
Layla.
But they actually tricked him though. They pulled some paperweight out of his bag and said, "You stole this from the museum. This is thievery. This is theft." And he's like, "Dude, it's just a paperweight. Where'd you get it from?" "Well, I got it from the paperweight store." Where did you think I get it from? So it was something really foolish. It just didn't seem right, but they picked him up anyway.
Yeah, so he gave Layla the Scarab Beetle, and during this whole scene, Layla hid on top of the roof building as he's getting taken away. Now, cutting over to the Harrow Steven talk, Harrow's kind of just telling Steven about the whole Khonshu Amit whole thing going on. We go to find out that Harrow actually used to be a what did they say it? What did they?
I can't remember what he said.
A host to Khonshu.
Right. He was basically another warrior for Khonshu. Yeah. That's what I got out of it. That he used to be a warrior for Khonshu.
Yeah. And he obviously worked side by side. Some things fell out between the two. That's when obviously Khonshu went to Mark Spector, but then that's when he ended up going to Amit. And we find the kind of the dichotomies of how Amit and Khonshu are different. Essentially, Khonshu is the type of your typical whole thing of, when it's time for you to be judged, you'll be judged at direct time. So, and honestly, it's kind of like, in a way, religious, like Christianity and stuff, the whole, everything that goes on. When it's time to be judged by God, you're judged for your actions, what you did on planet Earth. Now, the difference with how Amit is, it don't matter. To Amit, she judges you based on what you are going to do. So, and like he uses the examples like, oh yeah, if a baby who's born and we judge the baby and they're going to do some sin, well, that's what's going to happen. They're going to die right on the spot. They're going to be judged.
And even Stephen, he was pretty much like, wait a minute, why? That makes no sense to me. You're going to judge someone who hasn't really done anything yet. And he was just throwing out all different types of examples of people who just hadn't really done anything. And Harold was just like, no, I understand what you're coming from, but
yeah,
you're not really swaying me one way or the other.
Yeah, like Stephen used the example. He's like, yeah, I hate my freaking boss, the same lady that was freaking antagonizing him. He's like, yeah, I want to kill her, but
I wouldn't kill her.
Yeah. So yeah, it clearly shows that whatever Amit did to Harrow, she definitely confusing his mind in all sorts of ways and stuff like that. Heck, we even see after the chase scene ends, he just randomly walks up to this one person who gives him the Scarab Beetle. It's like, oh, thank you for that.
Just zaps
kills him.
Just zaps him right there of all of his life force. Thank you very much, and enjoy the afterlife.
He said, I'm sorry that you won't be able to see, my new world and everything. I'm like,
right, I know, but I'm just saying, you were like, yeah, I appreciate you for giving me the Scarab. So you know what? Let me just go ahead and zap this, and they'll take your body away. So yes, goodbye.
Yeah. Yeah. So also too, in the meantime of this whole discussion, Khonshu's like literally telling him like, kill him, snap his neck, or break his throat, or something
Yeah,
like
something. Break it in half. You know.
Um,
So,
and obviously the thing is, since Harrow was a host of Khonshu, he's like, oh, he's talking to you, isn't he? He's
talking
telling
to
you
you,
to
isn't
do
it?
all this.
He's
He's like,
telling you
don't
to
worry
do.
about it. Don't be freaked out. It's okay. He's just
Yeah.
gonna tell you this. Just ignore
Yeah.
him and stuff.
Don't
like
worry about all these rumblings and the curtains moving and then the winds blowing. He likes to do that just to distract you from, from what you're doing, that kind of stuff. So he actually proved that he actually had a relationship or knows Khonshu to the point whereas he's just not really freaked out about him. Oh, dude, really, don't worry about him. He could.
Yeah.
Just listen to me and let's eat this lentil soup.
Yeah. So what happens next is throughout the scene, Layla then shows up. She ends up making her attack. It gets Steven to get away. So it creates a whole chase scene. He does this weird
and he
thing.
did not want to. He did not at that point, even when they're running and they get locked in another room. And Mark is doing the same thing. Give me control. I can save us. Give me control. I can do it. So he, for the life of me, wouldn't do it. And at that particular moment, I'm like, dude, this dude would rather die than give control over to Mark. So I mean, for someone who at that particular moment, I'm assuming he's a novice, I would have thought he would just gladly did it, but he didn't. No, go ahead.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the whole character arc with Steven, the Steven persona of just understanding what he's getting himself into and just realizing I need to use this power when I need to use it to help me and stuff like that. So,
and now keep in mind, he did though. He did though. It was just like when he's falling out of the window. I think it was another jackal like.
What Harrow summons another jackal coming out of the ground, like from the pits of hell or something like that.
Correct. And winds up knocking Steven out the window. And while Steven is falling, I mean, Khonshu is talking to him, come on, man, you can do it. Summon the suit, summon the suit. And then that's when Steven just said, okay, come on, give me a suit. Come on, suit. And then, it's Steven. It's the Steven version of Moon Knight.
Yep.
Which was which was very sleek and I mean, it was very nice.
And also to mention too, before that even scene happens, Layla's looking at Steven and she's like, why are you freaking out like that? Now, the thing is, we already know, it's already established. She can't see the jackal, only he can.
Right.
So to him, and even when
the doors blew open though.
Yeah.
The doors blew open. She saw the doors blow open, but she really didn't believe that it was another entity there until they were outside on the ground and Steven had already changed to his version of Moon Knight.
And then she just like douses like some bottle on it, and
she hit him with a bottle, and then that's when he turned and he kind of growled at her. Yeah, so that's when she realized, oh, dude, it is something there.
Yeah.
So at that particular moment, they both started getting their ass kicked, but you notice that you can still see that Steven's Moon Knight does have a little strength about him because he grabbed the car bumper and kind of bent it a little bit and took it off the car. So at that moment, Steven probably at that moment realized, oh, I got me a little power here. So, let me see what I can do with it.
Yeah. Now, obviously, kind of the main talking point I saw when I watched other people's reviews, they brought up, this one guy brought up, now, apparently, some people, like I said at the start of the video on the internet, were upset that they changed how the character of Mr. Knight, the Mr. Knight persona of Moon Knight, ends up, is acting. In this show, he's acting a lot more comedic, a lot more like, oh, funny, haha, like he makes the whole sting like a butterfly, thing. Reference or line and stuff like that, and he's just messing around, just being a comedic character. Apparently some people didn't like that. They're like, where's the serious version? Because Mr. Knight in the comics was like ultimately serious. He was like a detective and everything. Well, I think that what they're going to do is they'll probably keep the detective like side of Mr. Knight and put that within Steven's personality when he kind of cools down and kind of just like, okay, this is my new life and everything. But I think the comedic part is going to stay the same because, well, He's a
I mean,
regular dude.
Steven is a sniveling weakling. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what they're bringing him across to be. And I think that's probably what's going to wind up happening in the progression of Steven undertaking this new character. He's going to become, I mean, he's going to become a little bit more confident in himself, but he already proved he can be a bit of a detective with in the first episode, you know, talking to his boss about, you know, the painting, the Egypt, you know, it's the wrong amount of gods and things of that nature. And then this episode, finding a storage place. So I think his evolution to being a detective is coming. You know, you just have a lot of purists out there that just wants that, you know, that I don't, you know,
Yeah.
just, you know, I don't want the labor pains, give me the baby. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So,
It-
you know,
it-
it's just the purists out there, just, you know,
Yeah.
you can only do so much to help them out. But the purists, they are not going to change anything. They don't want to see anything new. So I wouldn't really worry too much about
Yeah.
them. But it's, I mean, it is pretty interesting how his progression into a detective is coming.
Yeah, it's just like the Spider-Man fans when it came to the MCU version of Spider-Man, how some people loved it, some people preferably hated it because
Correct.
it
You can't
wasn't.
please everybody.
Yeah, but hey, guess what? It's like I said in my Spider-Man No Way Home review. He's the Spider-Man now that everybody wants now. He's on his own. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
deal with what you get. Albeit
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So yeah. Also,
Yeah.
if you're asking me, am I going to go review Morbius? No, I've already watched a full video of the spoilers and stuff like that. So I'm not gonna go see it.
I gotta admit, I'm good too. I mean, typically when you see a bunch of reviews, and I know we're getting off topic, but I much prefer to talk about Moon Knight. But when you see enough reviews that said a movie is bad, then yeah, I would probably say just leave it alone. Now I gotta admit, when it comes out, I probably will watch it. When it comes on, I don't know if it's gonna come on Disney Plus or not, but
Probably not. It's on
yeah,
by
probably
Sony.
not.
It's only
But
that's directly a Sony film.
I'll
right
wait.
there.
I'll wait until a friend of mine has it on Blu-ray and I'll borrow it. Let's just say that.
Yeah. But going on, he's getting tossed around, and then obviously Mark is talking to him through the bus mirror. He's like, dude, just give me control and I can take care of this because we got to lead this fight somewhere else where people are not going to get harmed. He's like, okay, I'll give you it. So he transforms into regular Moon Knight. He pulls out, I guess, his Moon Knight.
That was tight too, Jack.
Batarangs.
Yeah, I gotta admit, when he went, man, it's man, that just how he changes is really nice. I really like it. It's like when you see Optimus Prime, you know, evolving from the truck into Optimus Prime. That's the feeling I got when I watched, you know, Mark take over and become his version of Moon Knight. So, you know, so yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. And he did the right thing as always, you know. So it's gonna be a nice little dichotomy between Mark and Steven. And I expect them to come to one accord probably at the end. But for right now, I'm really liking the dichotomy between those two.
Yeah. He ends up fighting the Jackal, taking the Jackal away, ends up having a pretty brutal kill for the Jackal, literally just jumping off and then tricking it and then just impels it through this whole building. It just essentially disintegrates away like it's sand or gets like Thanos snapped away. He ends up getting out of the Moon Knight costume. He ends up running into another mirror. We see Steven's persona talking through the mirror, and he's like, oh, so this is what it's like to be you. And it ends up turning into a whole argument between the two because Steven wants his body back. And Mark's like, no, I got to deal with this right now. You wait. When it's time for me to give it up, I'll give it back to you. But obviously Steven's like, no, you got me all into this mess. You made me lose my date. You made me lose my job. This is all your fault for what you've been doing. And Mark just freaks out on the mirror and just smashes it. Which again, great acting by Oscar Isaac. Like great acting.
Yeah, I gotta admit, I mean, he's been fantastic. And then it comes to find out that, you know, there's a little bit of, you know, kind of get the Khonshu shows up a little bit after that. And you kind of get the feeling that even Mark is forced into being into Moon Knight. You know, Khonshu is pretty, you know, it seems like he's a hard taskmaster and he needs Mark to do something for him. Yeah. So So yeah, so it's just like, and he kind of even hinted Khonshu, and I'm assuming it was Layla.
Yeah, that's what he was referencing. He was
Yeah, he was
like,
referencing
I think they
Layla
even
being
referenced it later in the episode when Stephen was talking to Mark, or when Mark was talking to Stephen through the mirror. He said, "You got to do back when Layla first showed up in the apartment." But the whole thing with that is Khonshu's like, "Listen, if you don't fulfill what I tell you to do,
that's
well, guess
correct.
what? I'll leave you and I'll go
And
be the host for Layla."
I'll get Layla to replace you
Yeah.
as a means to simply say, okay, that's his hook to get Mark to do what he wants to do. So if you don't do it, then I'll just get Layla, and then you're gonna lose, probably lose your life and lose your wife, so yeah, again, there's another, not another nice little twist as to what's going on with Mark versus Steven, Mark versus Khonshu, and Layla seems to be caught in the middle of all of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
So
gonna
what
be
happens
interesting.
is we end the episode off with Conjure's like, okay, we're gonna go somewhere. He's like, wait, what are you talking about? He's like,
Mm-hmm.
I'll just lead you there. And then he wakes up. Now he doesn't know that. So maybe this could be the third persona kicking in. Who
Could
knows?
be.
Um, and
Could
he
be.
ends up obviously in Egypt because he's looking at the pyramids and everything. I've been to Egypt,
That's
cool
right.
place and
Pyramids
everything.
of Giza. That's correct.
Now we don't
Now,
know
keep
if
in mind that-
Arthur Harrow's there too, because he did
that's
take the
correct.
scarab, and the
That's,
scarab's
that's
actually supposed to show the location of where Amit is, so they can end up reviving Amit.
correct.
So yeah.
And we talked about the third persona a couple of times. Now, we do know that there is a third persona, and whether they actually show that in this show or not, I'm not necessarily sure. But that third persona could be Layla, because he did it twice. Well, if you can't do it, I'll get her to do it. So you never really know.
Yeah.
So or it could just be Isaac, another variation that Isaac is going to play in this TV show. So I don't understand what the purists really hate about it, but because I gotta admit, I love all the different dichotomies that this show is throwing from the left and the right, from up and down, to give you a really good sense of, I gotta watch that next episode, man. I gotta watch that next episode. So yeah, ended up with the pyramids, and I gotta admit, me and Diamond, we were watching and we stood up like, oh snap, look at where they are.
Yep.
Let's see. You've been to Egypt though?
Yeah, I've been to Egypt. Yep.
Yeah.
So
a long time ago, I understand.
Yep.
Yep.
But that's where the episode ended there. So obviously I thought it was a really good episode, a nice follow-up to the second episode. Gonna be very intrigued to see where the third episode goes. Again, like we said, I don't know if Harrow's there. I'm guessing it only makes sense that he would be there, because
if they wanted to, raise an Egyptian god from the dead, where else would they go? Cleveland?
Egypt. Yeah.
I mean, it stands to believe that, an Egyptian god, one that's moved on, which would be in Egypt. So, finding a scarab, it's one thing, using the scarab is something totally different. Because obviously when he was in the storage room, the scarab actually showed, what he can do. It's, it's comes up from his base and it floats around so that it can find something. So again, it's just a matter of what does that scarab actually can find, is what everyone is probably going to be hoping to see maybe in the next episode.
Yeah. But again, this was another great episode, and I'm obviously enjoying Moon Knight. This is a great show. So far, out of all the MCU Disney Plus TV shows right now, it's probably, I have to watch a full season before I say is it better than WandaVision, because I think WandaVision right now is the best out of all the Marvel Disney Plus shows, but this one's definitely getting up there.
Loki.
Man. Yeah, then you know what? Yeah, actually, I'll change that. Loki's honestly the best one.
Loki is by far the best one for me.
Yeah.
but it would have to, if they want to eclipse what they're gonna do with Moon Knight over Loki, then it probably should end on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And that's what I like most about Loki. It hung you deep. So I'm just like, oh man, I can't wait for the next season 2.
Yeah.
They
So
finalized all these shows with the exception of Loki.
yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, we're gonna get out of here. So if you guys like the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts on this week's episode of Moon Knight.
I'm already here. I'm right here. I'm about to like it.
As well as hit that subscribe button if you want to get
That's
more.
right. I've already subscribed. That's the episode 1 review. Y'all get on and like it because it's good shit.
If you want to get more Moon Knight content as well as any other MCU content, as also next movie review I'm doing probably tomorrow night is I'm going to be reviewing the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 movie, which I'm so excited to go watch. Now, if I was not going to my Angels game,
is trying to get me to go watch it. I'm like, hey, why don't you just wait till it come out? Because let's not spend all this money to go see it. But she's like, I already bought the tickets.
Yeah, I would have though if I wasn't going to the Angels game tonight with my dad, I would have went to theaters and saw the early screening tonight. But
because you want to go see the Angels, they got shut out by the Dodgers, man.
Ohtani, my dad wants to see Ohtani pitch.
Ohtani, oh, he's pitching.
Yeah, he's pitching.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay, all right. Well, then that's not so bad.
Yeah, so if I wasn't going to the Angels game today, I would have been watching Sonic the Hedgehog 2, but you'll get probably a review tomorrow night. Don't know when.
I'm not gonna watch that one because I gotta watch the movie first. I'm gonna watch the movie first, then watch your review.
Yeah.
If I watch your review, then I'm gonna be like, well, no sense of going to watch the movie, Cam Free gave it all to me.
Yeah, so far from what I've been hearing, it's much better than the first one. So
okay, well,
definitely looking forward to it.
If that's what you're hearing, then I won't feel so bad about going to the theater with Diamond.
Oh yeah, they're making a whole. It looks like they're gonna make a whole Sonic universe because Knuckles getting his own TV show on Paramount Plus.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Any hope that Shadow is coming?
They're gonna do Shadow probably the third film.
But that's my dude right there.
So yeah, but anyways, guys, we're gonna get over. Hopefully, you guys have a good rest of your day or night on this video. Until then, guys, stay safe out there. See you guys later. Peace.
Later.